With this Wind Beneath My Wings guitar lesson, we'll focus on a fingerstyle arrangement that works well for an unaccompanied sing-along performance. With chord diagrams, guitar tabs, and an accompanying guitar karaoke practice video, we're going to cover it all with a step-by-step approach. Now with this fingerstyle arrangement, we will learn it in the key of G major, which enables you to just pick up the guitar and play the song. But for some of you, the key of G might be a little low of a register to sing or harmonize with. So the good news is, once you learn the chords or progressions with this lesson, all you need to do is just use a capo along various fret positions to fit whatever key you want to sing in. For example, to harmonize with the Bette Midler version, that is in the key of B flat, which if you learn the chords in the key of G, all you need to do is put a capo along the 3rd fret and play everything we're going to cover in this lesson. So that's the good news. Once you learn the chord progressions, you can play it in various keys by using a capo. Now the first step will be to learn the main fingerstyle pattern. For those of you who already know basic or standard fingerstyle technique, you know that the thumb will be assigned to the 6th, 5th, and 4th strings, depending on the bass note of the chord, and the 1, 2, and 3 fingers are aligned and assigned to the top 3 strings like so. One thing I do in this lesson is I tend to shift the 1, 2, and 3 fingers down more toward the middle strings. We don't play the top string a lot in this arrangement, so I tend to shift my fingers. For me, it gives me better tone. But whatever you're comfortable with, if you've done a lot of fingerstyle playing, standard fingerstyle technique is fine, or you can just follow along with this lesson and do that slight adjustment by shifting the fingers down. And with that, we'll start with a G chord, and you can fret the G chord 2 different ways. Keep in mind we're not going to pluck the 1 string for this pattern, so you could either fret it with your 1 and 2 fingers on the bottom strings or your 2 and 3 fingers. And the fingerstyle pattern, I'll start off by calling off the strings to pluck, and then we'll focus on the proper tempo. We're going to start with 6, the bottom string, plucked with the thumb. And then we're going to play a 4-note phrase, 6, and then 4, 3, 2, 3. So backing it up to the beginning, 6, 4, 3, 2, 3. Then we add 2 more notes, 4, 3. 6, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 3. And then once you have that down, we count the notes instead of calling off the string numbers, and it'll help develop a sense of tempo. And if we count it, at least what I do is you could say bass, or you could count this as a 1, and then I say 1 again to group the next 4 notes. So I go 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. And that's only half the fingerstyle pattern. The second half will be 6, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4. I'll do that again. 6, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4. And how I would count that, I would go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So if we put the fingerstyle pattern together from the beginning, it's going to sound like this. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Do it one more time. Next, we'll apply the fingerstyle pattern to the chord progressions of the song. And how we start the song, we're going to go over 3 different options on how to start with this lesson. There'll be 2 different intros, and the third option will be to not use an intro and go right into the verse section. So that's how we'll start, and it will begin with the G chord. Now, the verse section is a sequence of 8 measures, and we have several chords that we're going to use, starting with the G, and then an open C, and then another G, but I refer to this as an alternate G because we'll have our pinky down on the 2nd string, 3rd fret. It's still a G chord just as much as the other voicing. Then we have an A minor, an open A minor, and then an open D. And with 8 measures, we'll learn 4 measures at a time, then put the 2 sections together. And we'll start with the G that we went over in the previous clip. And then we go to C, and everything's pretty much the same except we shift the bass note. It'll go up to the 5th string, which is C on that 5th string 3rd fret, and here's how the C section will sound. Then the 3rd measure will be the alternate G chord, and that'll be plucked the exact same way as we did G. And then back to C. And with that, let's put together the first 4 measures, G, C, G, C. Here we go from the top. 1, 2, ready, go. The next 4 measures will go back and forth between A minor and D, 1 time each, or 1 measure each. For the A minor fingerstyle pattern, there's a slight variation we can apply, and we'll start with the bass note on the 5th string, and then I go to the top 3 strings, and then I shift down for that second half of the fingerstyle pattern. So here's how the A minor section will sound again. And then we go to D, and in this case we'll just focus on the top 4 strings. As I mentioned, it goes A minor, D, same thing twice, so that's a good idea now to review exactly that as it's played in the song. So A minor, D, here we go from the top. 1, 2, ready, go. Now, one note on this section for the A minor, especially when you start singing along, you don't have to play every note exactly as it is. For example, on that A minor fingerstyle pattern, I do brush the top string, but one option is instead of the top 3, you could start off with the 5, 4, 3, boom. So that's another option as well. Again, whatever you're going to be comfortable with when it comes time to perform the song, but I wanted to throw that in. You don't have to be 100% accurate. Now let's put together all of the verse section, all 8 measures. We'll do a slow walkthrough from the top. 1, 2, ready, go. Once you have the fingerstyle pattern and the chord progressions down, next step is to focus on timing or syncing the lyrics along with the chord changes. And everyone will have their own way of how they phrase or sing along with these guitar parts, but for those of you who haven't done this a lot, we'll give you a few pointers regarding the timing. And step 1 is to focus on the bass notes. When it comes to timing, it all starts with the bass notes. On verse 1 with that G bass note, the vocal melody doesn't begin until after that note is sustained. There's a delayed response with the vocal melody, which produces sort of a relaxing, mellow tone. So you start singing those initial vocals. It must have been cold during the arpeggio. That's tip number 1. Tip number 2, on the lyric cold, it must have been cold. You're going to land that cold right on the G bass note. So must have been cold there in my, and then shadow, you're going to land the C bass note on that first syllable of shadow. And then again, that delayed response for the G. Never have sunlight in your face. So there's a couple of tips right there as far as the timing, the lyrics, and the chord changes. For the chorus, we'll start with an E minor chord shape, and there's going to be a slight variation on the fingerstyle pattern. For the E minor, we're going to go like this. So sort of like a half measure of what we did previously. And then we go to C. Same pattern, just a different bass note. And then a G chord, but we're going to go to a full G chord. Now, you can go back and forth with the 2, 3, and 4, or 1, 2, and 3 fingers, but with G, we're going to focus on the top 3 strings. And then we continue to the initial fingerstyle pattern, just moving up to the top 3 strings. So going back to the G, and let's do a walkthrough now from the beginning, E minor, C, and then G. This is actually repeated 3 times, this chord sequence. So let's do it 3 times, just like the final product, just like the recording, and it'll be a good review. So here we go from the top 3 times. 1, 2, ready, go. Then for the final sequence of the chorus, back to C, then D, top 4 strings, and then G. So let's review the complete chorus now from the top. We'll do a slow walkthrough. 1, 2, ready, go. And once you have the verse and chorus sections down, you pretty much have most of the song down. It's mostly going back and forth between verse and chorus sections. The last final step would be to figure out an intro and an ending. And we already went over a basic start, which is deleting the intro, but if you want to add a little bit of extra something, you can actually do how we started the verse. You can actually go back and forth between G and C for 4 measures. So this could be one intro. da, 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 and then kick in with verse 1. Another option, what I do on the karaoke video is you can do a little, throw in a little riff on the C chord. That makes it a little interesting. You don't want to overdo it, but let me give you an example of throwing in a little hammer. And this hammer is, as you're holding the C chord, you keep the first finger anchored, and then you hammer the fourth pinky finger up 2 frets to the 3rd fret, and then release back. And if we threw that in one time on the C, here's how it would sound if you want to add a little something extra to the intro. Another option for the intro would be to simply just play one measure of G. So if the first intro was too much and deleting the intro was too little, you could just do one measure of G. Must have been, you could do that as a third option for an intro. To end the song, just repeat the last line of the final chorus. And quick review of that, that's a C, D, G progression. You are the wind beneath my wings. You'll repeat that line, and you could, as one option, slow down the arpeggios a little bit, and here's how that'll sound. Once you have each section memorized, the final step is to put together a complete arrangement or performance of the song. And you can practice that along with my Wind Beneath My Wings guitar karaoke video, where you can sing along with Wind Beneath My Wings karaoke, play guitar with Wind Beneath My Wings karaoke, or do both.